Hey there. Before we get into the episode itself, there are some people that I would like to thank, like Jason Straub, Nicholas Vigil, David Wingfield, Simone Sotelo, and Tyler Bradshaw. All of these are people who have gone to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and kicked us some money. We are entirely listener funded, no ads, no anything. And your support makes a huge difference for us. You get extra content in return. And all of that, as we said, is at patreon.com/DuckFeedTV. Thank you.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are talking about Doom 3, which is a first-person shooter developed by id Software and published by Activision for the PC in 2004.
Yeah. And this is our premium episode for October. It is the end of Spooky Month. The generalities will be released for everyone. And then the body of the episode, the discussion of the play-by-play, will be for patrons.
Yeah. So go to patreon.com/DuckFeedTV and you get all of our premium episodes, not just this one, for the low price currently of $5 a month.
Yeah. And you can listen to it and stop if you like.
Yeah.
So this is a reboot of Doom. You know, we don't need to say anything about Doom. We've done an episode on Doom 2016 and Doom 2. This tells the story of a Marine who is caught up in a demon invasion of Mars, brought on by ill-advised super science of the UAC, the classic Doom tale.
Yes. It's hell on Mars, hell breaks loose, and then they want to come for Earth, baby.
God, demons love Earth, dude.
Oh, man. One thing I know about demons.
I do.
Yeah.
Like, just have it, am I right?
I mean, I mean, they do live in hell, which is by definition the worst place. So, you know.
I think if they get Earth, we should move up one.
Oh, we get heaven?
Or like whatever comes next. I don't know. Sky.
Okay.
Moon.
Sky.
Like, I don't know.
Cloud cities
it
and
just feels
Venus.
fair, though.
It does.
You know,
yeah.
I don't want to swap with them. Something below them has to go into hell.
That's a that's a weird take.
It's a 1920s editorial cartoon.
Yep. Oh man. So even though the premise is a classic favorite, the game plays quite differently compared to the first two games. You know, those are run and gun classics. They're not as brainless as people make them sound, but you know, they have a distinct style of play that is
Twitch action games.
Yeah, Twitch action games. Distinct style of play that is not this, and this is kind of a black sheep, although it has had its rehabilitation. And both of us, I think the reason that we wanted to throw this on was because both of us like this game and we want to talk about it.
Doom 3 is good.
Yes.
You know, its greatest crime is not being Doom 2 or Doom 2016.
Yes.
Which it's not. And it's not as good as either of those games. Not as good, not as unique.
Right.
But is good in its own right.
Right.
So the ways this plays differently are you know, varied. You know, this came out just a little bit before Half-Life 2 did. It plays closer to a Half-Life. It also, as opposed to the weird and abstract maze-like FPS design of Doom 1 and 2.
Yeah.
We are in somewhat of a real space.
Yes.
Kind of an immersive sim. Like there is a real dedication to the nuts and bolts of how this facility runs.
Yeah.
That I was kind of surprised by. I'd kind of forgotten about. Especially early on before, more incident happens where there's like a lot of audio logs and emails and stuff about like spam and schedules and things like that. Like, pretty bereft of interest.
Yes.
For a while.
Yeah. It's clear that they kind of were taking inspiration from really critically lauded games. Like, not a lot of people talk about Quake 2, right? It's a fine game. I remember playing a little bit of it. But it kind of got their lunch eaten, and the genre moved on beyond kind of the state of the art that they were at. This is closer to the new direction that first person shooters were going.
Yeah, there's the style at the time. And what's interesting is that history has vindicated Doom 1 and 2.
Yes.
Like the style that id has, kind of created, and has not been quite as kind. To this kind of story based,
the hallway spectacle shooter.
The hallway spectacle shooter is a little bit more dated now. Even though at the time this was chasing kind of cutting edge trends.
Yeah.
So this is a good game. It is partly, you have to appreciate this partly in its time.
And this is not to say that it doesn't get hectic. Like, there are lots of enemies that this game throws at you, and there is a certain amount of kind of the same, like, dealing with projectile attacks from enemies, not necessarily hit scan. Like, you're still like dodging lobbed fireballs in a way that you were in the base game. So there's like bits and pieces of that here.
You're just not doing it at like 60 miles per hour.
Yes.
At a sprint or at a walk. You got here in the notes, like, what if Half-Life was a haunted house? The Half-Life comparison, like, I think there's a good amount of Half-Life DNA in this. There is an unreasonable amount of haunted house DNA in this.
So much, to the point where there are just little paneled off sections of wall that exist for a zombie or a monster to live in, wait for you to come by, and then pop out and go, ah!
Yeah, it like an overweight teen with an ill-advised beard who's come up with his own character named like Chef Fingers, like pops out. He's got clown makeup on his goatee, and he pops out of the panel. Like, the game gets a lot of criticism for that. But if you can like the trick to enjoying this to me is treat it like you're walking around a haunted house.
Yeah.
Except every time you would turn towards the teen and go, you just shoot them.
Right.
Which is everyone's dream.
Of course.
Like, you've always wanted to shoot, Captain Fingers or whatever, Chef Fingers.
Captain Fingers. That's a great name for a teen bad clown. I'm Captain Fingers, the bad clown.
the teen evil clown. You can tell I'm an evil clown because I put the makeup on over my facial hair rather than shaving, like a clown.
Yep.
And gluing these pubes to the egg to trademark my look was incredibly difficult. But like, it just shoot, like something jumps out at you, it startles you. Eventually you start realizing it's coming, but then that becomes fun too. Like anticipating which panels are going to open and just being ready to shoot the teen that pops out, except instead of a teen, it's an imp.
Yes. Yeah. So if you can vibe with it, if you can meet the game where it's at, there's like plenty of like good Twitch kind of stuff to happen here. Like the kind of Doom 3's trick is just to basically give you as many different kinds of ambush as you can, as they can think of. Basically, let's cram the geometry with as much ambush as possible.
Yeah, incredible ambush energy.
Yeah.
So you still have quite a impressive arsenal of weapons here. In order to kill these demons, they're more powerful.
Yep.
Than in previous Dooms. So the same enemies will come through, and if you look at the wiki, they have the same number of hit points. Actually, you just do more damage. So it changes the kind of calculus of these encounters, where things like Caco demons, which would be, not mini bosses, but kind of lieutenant characters, are now more of a nuisance. Like, everything kind of gets a downgrade with the to compensate for the fact that they're going to be coming in bigger numbers and from more angles.
Right.
Not just you walking around a corner or there just being a literal surprise closet. Ammunition is more limited. So you have to reload when your clip is empty. You also, because ammunition is limited, they've introduced a headshot system to this. So headshots do double damage almost across the board on almost every enemy. So, as opposed to Doom, where you just kind of get face in the general direction of an enemy and hit scan them, here you actually want to line up your shots.
Yes.
It's a weird hybrid of speed.
And that like changes the usefulness and the usefulness of particular weapons, like the assault rifle, like the machine gun, ends up being a little bit more useful here than it was in the original Doom, right? Specifically because that precision allows for headshots. So like, the need for snap reaction precision is definitely present here in a way that it was not before.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are some special weapons here that are worth talking about, especially, I mean, in comparison to ways that they've been treated elsewhere in the series. So like the chainsaw, like you just find that. I love the note that is nearby that explains why there are chainsaws on Mars. It was
Tons of chainsaws.
It was a shipping mistake. They were supposed to have jackhammers, which would make sense if you're trying to break up, Mars rock or whatever. The chainsaw is just a melee weapon upgrade that you can get. It can be used anytime. There's no fuel. Kind of similar to the original games. It is not part of like this weird arcade ebb and flow like it would be later.
The weird thing about the chainsaw is that it still operates based on your crosshairs rather than where the chainsaw is visually on the screen.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, but like for the first, few enemies I engaged with the chainsaw, I was like, what the fuck? This
is this Morrowind?
Eventually kind of Morrowind. Does that work? No, I don't know.
Morrowind. Yeah, it's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the demon hell version of Morrowind. The Elder Souls, Morrowind. So it doesn't quite work the same way that you want it to, but it is still very useful. It does tons of damage. The BFG, rather than being a room clearing gun, is a weapon that you can charge up to 3 levels. And it does a slow moving projectile that will hurt nearby enemies, does tons of damage. If you overcharge it, you will die. So you cannot just walk around with this thing buzzing like brimstone in Binding of Isaac.
You can't hum it. Yeah. No, it's not, you want to ride that throttle a little bit. About 80% of the way through the game, like as you go into the final act after you return from hell, you do acquire a unique special weapon to this game called the Soul Cube. It speaks to you. It's like the collective soul.
No,
but it is like the amalgamation of the souls of like the precursor race that used to live on Mars. This kind of changes the rhythm of play a little bit because after every 4 kills, this thing powers up, it munches on those souls, and you can activate it, and it will fly toward the nearest enemy with the highest HP, kill it, and then restore your health.
Huge Phantasm energy.
Yes.
Like in Phantasm, it's a sphere, but basically a bladed, something in a bladed cube.
Yes.
That flies at enemies. Really fun weapon. Again, you don't get until pretty late though.
Yeah.
But because of this shows up, you no longer have to worry about picking up health kits or anything. You have this different rhythm where you have to be, it's actually kind of, presages Doom 2016 in a way.
Yes.
Like you have to be aggressive in order to heal. So you're killing enemies and you do get into those situations where you're low on health. It's like, well, if I can kill one more enemy, my cube is probably good. And then I can sick that on the mancubus or whatever. And take it out.
No, I need to kill people to feed my cube is what you tell people.
Good reason to kill. Good reason to cube. I can't believe you got a note here about the darkness before we talk about the darkness, and I can't believe we haven't talked about the darkness yet.
Yeah,
the darkness is Doom 3.
It's kind of the main thing, but like when you talk about the just the things that you do shooting, it makes sense to talk about the weapons. So the darkness is it's going to come. Yeah.
We got to camp out on darkness for a while.
We do.
There are a lot of enemies here. Most of them are returning from the Doom collection, though with different designs. A lot of slow-moving projectile enemies, which is great because those were the worst enemies in Doom 2, were the ones that did hit scan.
Yep.
A lot of guys throw slow fireballs at you or rush you in melee.
Yeah. Which is good, and not something that really happened in FPS games in this era, right?
Yes.
You know, it was firefights is what it was. Yeah. I found that enemy visual design was a bit of a problem, actually. A lot of them just kind of look really similar to each other in their silhouette, and by their coloration, a lot of them are the same, like lumpy, like gray-green. Kind of dead flesh kind of look. That made it hard to prioritize enemies unless they were, something like the Revenant, where like, yes, it is very clear this is the only skeleton that is in play.
Yeah, this is a tall skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not end up having as much of a problem with that actively. Like, okay. I recognize that that's a thing. But in terms of, playing this as a keep moving and prioritize whatever's in front of me.
Yeah.
Like if you keep moving, you tend to dodge. In this, the environments are smaller than Doom, so you can back into an enemy.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like you can dodge yourself into a bad scenario. But part of what they're doing with the level design here, by making it so corridor-like and structural, like a Mars base, is to kind of give you an intuitive sense of what the space might be like. Like there were times where an enemy, I'd get into an ambush, I would have to backtrack, back away from an enemy while shooting it, and would kind of intuit, where there would be a bend in a hallway or, a little transformer I could duck behind.
Cover is definitely a thing here where it would not have been in the first two games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a dedicated cover system or anything like that.
Yeah. Just like ducking behind a pillar. Is just a thing you can do here, and that is something that happens intuitively. I think that like when I talk about them being difficult to differentiate, once they throw the Archvile in, which is the enemy who will like send flame after you, but importantly will summon other enemies, it looks so similar to just kind of your basic imp, actually, that they would be in the mix and I wouldn't realize it. And you don't want to let them hang around for a while,
Yeah. They cannot hang out in the mix.
No, like they need to be taken down. So that was like the primary place where this was a concern.
Imps are your bread and butter enemy in this. Like you have just kind of zombie marines before that, but they're not much of a factor unless they have a shotgun.
Right.
Imps are your special little hell grunt guys, and they're really good.
I love this. It's such a good basic enemy.
Yeah. And they continue to be fun and useful to fight for the entire game, which is like the mark of a good grunt enemy. Like if you can introduce these in cool mix-ups in the last level and still have fun, you've done a good job.
Yeah. But like they're not bullet spongy. They go down in, pretty much 2 shotgun blasts anytime, right? They have so many different attacks in addition to their primary just, throw a slow-moving fireball at you. Because they can crawl on any surface, they can come from anywhere.
And because every surface is their house.
Yes.
So they can come from anywhere because that's where they live. Anywhere.
Yeah. I was playing this and it's just remarkable how much they got out of this one enemy. It was very thoughtfully put together.
Yeah. There are, so you're kind of, most Doom encounters in this you enter a corridor or a room. Some demons will already be there. And as you deal with them or pick something up, enemies will teleport in or bust in through panels. This definitely happens, especially when you're backtracking through areas. And the number of just panels they built for these guys is very kind.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to make the most out of your space. There's no reason you can't make your demons happy. That's an important trick. The way that they, you are going to be doing backtracking in this. The way that they continue to fill that with incident, and not just by like having new enemies teleport in, which is going to happen all the time anyway, even when you're going through it front ways. That just enemies are going to teleport in.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are standard encounters in a way that's going to be shorthand during this episode because there are some encounters that are noteworthy, but there's a lot of kind of sameness to this.
Yeah.
Like, again, we opened with a positive opening salvo of this. Like, I do like this game. It's too long.
Yeah.
I think the first third of it, I wish was better paced. Like I wish you got to more interesting areas quicker
Yes.
than you do.
Agreed.
So
Yeah. But a lot of the time you are going to be like Doom 3ing across a sector in order to hit a button to open the door back. Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Let's spend some time talking about light.
Yes, let's talk about the light. We'll mention this in the development, but this was kind of the big technological breakthrough here, was making a game where dynamic light was not only possible, but the thing that the game was built around. In the original version of Doom 3, the pace of play was substantially slowed by the fact that you could not hold a weapon and a flashlight at the same time.
Yes. This was not an accident,
No.
to this. Like, we're going to talk about the kind of different versions of this. But this was intentional. The idea was you wanted to be in shadow.
Right.
The game developers wanted you to make that choice, similar to the original pitch for Dark Souls 2, of giving up some of your efficacy for visual readability.
Right.
And because of this, the Mars base is dark. Dark.
There's basically no ambient light that is not flickering.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are strobes in like a haunted house kind of way. Hell is super dark, even though it's on fire. It's very dark. And players did not like this. This was contrary to not only Doom, but just kind of the FPS trends that this game was kind of chasing or operating in, which the idea of occluding your vision as a difficulty element was, just kind of unheard of.
It seemed like dirty pool almost. Like, how can you expect me to perform if I can't see what I'm shooting at? And the trade-off is if you can see something, you can't attack it. And if you have the ability to attack, that's because you can't see, because you're holding the shooty thing instead of the lighty thing. Right.
Yeah. The idea was that you would see something move out of the corner of your eye, not be able to identify it, and wildly spray bullets in that direction, like a character in a movie might do in the dark. I genuinely feel that was what they were trying to recreate. Kind of again and again and again with the panels and the darkness and such. But players hated it. Lost their minds from multiple angles. Like, not only did they think that it was dirty pool and bad design, there was also a lot of so the first mod they gave you a light was called the duct tape mod. What's the idea? Is like, is there no duct tape on Mars that you can tape a flashlight to your gun? And I'd be like, well, you're going to do it to each one of your guns?
Yeah.
Dingus.
So you're going to need 10 different flashlights? Okay.
10 different tapes?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But they were just like, oh, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, in a way that feels weird and pedanty and like, mildly annoying to me.
Why didn't they just call each other on their cell phones?
Yeah, why didn't they just build the whole Mars base out of the black box?
It's it was a conscious choice. They wanted to make a horror game.
Yeah, it's not Doom 2. Again, its biggest crime. The 2012 re-release of this game, the BFG edition, got rid of the flashlight as an item and just give you a shoulder-mounted light. The difference, though, the old flashlight had unlimited batteries. The new flashlight has a limited battery.
Yeah.
So you can only have it. They're trying to maintain a little bit of their darkness steez.
Yes. And it's like it's a short battery. It's like less than a minute of runtime on this thing. So I played the BFG edition in this because that's just kind of the easiest one to get a hold of. I mapped like turning the flashlight off and on to the right mouse button. So I could, have it going, and you're going and you are like managing that. Like it is a limited resource, and oftentimes you are going without light, or going with less light than you would want. But like the big thing is that, regardless, you can shoot and see at the same time. So it is still a pretty big change.
Yeah. I think I did the same thing. My original version, I played the version with the flashlight. This version I played the BFG. I think that I do prefer the original version
Same.
to this. It didn't obviate anything. It's not like having the flashlight. What I didn't like was having, when I first played the game, I adjusted to it. And eventually, even literally started kind of like reading the levels and realizing, what different shapes of darkness would mean in terms of an encounter. With the version with the flashlight, with the minute timer, it added a weird little mental overhead
Yeah.
of like managing my flashlight that I didn't like very much.
Yeah.
And what's frustrating to me is that there's not a version, like the BFG edition does not contain both.
Right.
It's one of the rare examples I've seen of a developer just being like, oh yeah, we fucked up, and just like 100% caving to, popular gamer opinion rather than standing by their work. Like, it's kind of irritating to me.
A little bit. I wish that they would have made it an option in BFG. As it stands, you are able to, like, there are mods that'll do visual upgrades on the original Doom 3. But like the retail game that you're going to get on a lot of platforms is going to be this kind of compromised version of the game.
Yeah. Which is still good, but I don't prefer it. Like, I liked not having to think about the flashlight's battery and just trying to think of like, oh, I want to see, like, one of the things that the original version I remember that recreated that is something I do in real life. And I don't know if this is how universal this is, but when you get up at night, it's dark and you turn on a light and then kind of memorize a room and then walk through it in the dark. Does that follow?
Are you trying to like not wake somebody else up?
Or we're just trying not to step on anything or not, run into any walls.
Why don't you just turn on the light if you're going, leave the light on as you're going through it?
I think in this scenario, maybe I'm trying not to wake anybody up.
Okay.
It does seem like the kind of thing I've done, and I'm trying to remember why. I think that's why.
I do not contest that is a thing that somebody does. Like, yeah, okay, obviously memorize the room and like, okay, that's where that chair is. That's where that thing on the floor is. I'm going to get around it. The way that you made it sound was like this is a thing that you do all the time for fun. Here's
the scenario. I remember now. The light switch is by the door, but I have to walk all the way through the room to lay down.
Oh,
this room,
yeah.
It's a bedroom. And I click the light to kind of memorize it. I turn off the light.
Okay.
And then I wander past things to get to the bed.
Gotcha. Okay.
So now it makes sense. It's weird that I'm under the weather, everyone listening. Okay. So I'm not going to make all kinds of sense, but that is the scenario.
Okay. In this scenario, there is not a bedside lamp that is on, and then you turn off the overhead, and then when you're in bed,
some of us can't afford a bedside lamp. I mean,
you climb in bed and you put on your starch nightcap. You reach over and you say good night light, and then you turn off the light.
No light. Even though I do have the starch nightcap, but only that.
Yes. Well, yeah.
In this scenario,
you lose most of the heat through the top of your head. So
I'm like the Expedia gnome, but sexy.
Oh man,
there's a Travelocity. Which one has the sexy gnome?
I fuck if I know, man. Priceline.
But anyway, so in the original version of this, I would shine a flashlight around a room, kind of get the layout of it, and then turn it off to have my gun ready.
And that is not to say
the experience I missed.
That isn't to say that like the enemies do not have lights on them. When they're doing when they're doing their attacks, they will cast light. When you fire your muzzle flash will light things up. So it is not like you're playing like a Papa Sangra or something like that on iOS where you're doing it entirely by sound. It's just direct sustained light is a rarity in the original version of this game in a way that was definitely deliberate, and they changed it in a way that definitely feels like they caved to the mob.
Yeah. And people like it more. Like there was a lot of like they fixed Doom 3 discourse around when they did the BFG edition. But I think that there is a irritation I have sometimes with like gamer Americans refusing to engage to work on its own terms.
People who said that their experiences and preferences aren't valid. So
yes, exactly. Yeah. So Doom 3 is a little bit more story heavy than the previous games, which just had text, between episodes. This now has dialogue and cutscenes. Your guy is mute. Everyone else will talk to you at length. There are friendly NPCs. There are enemies, evil NPCs that will taunt you. You get radio and video transmissions. You get, to stop and watch kiosk videos of things. Like there is a lot more text in this game.
Yes. Yeah. And that is not to say that like it's dialogue between you and your character. You are mute. Right.
Yes.
Gosh, I have a note here later on, but they pulled in the person who did the dialogue writing for the seventh guest to do this.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, just because like it had never really done this kind of like writing and dialogue before, you know. It was done by Matthew Costello, who would go on to write 2 of 3 planned novelizations of Doom 3.
Hmm.
They couldn't fit the story in just one book. But yeah, he had done other game writing, including The Seventh Guest and The 11th Hour.
Odd.
So that
Those,
industry luminary
prose powerhouses.
brought in. Yeah.
There's a pretty comprehensive PDA system
Yes.
in this. As you explore the base, you're going to find PDAs that belong to staff that died. Sometimes these are good and fun, but again, as I mentioned before, there is a surprising dedication to blandness. I found with a bunch of these where like, yeah, this is just somebody at work. Like,
Yeah.
this is in the shitty future genre to me.
Yes.
Of like Alien and what have you. Like, it would suck to work in the future. Like,
Yes.
space is going to be a terrible place to work for a long time.
USC is a horrible company, doesn't care about the workers' well-beings, even before hell broke loose, right? You know, and like a lot of what you're going to see, like there's a certain like banality of evil stuff kind of thing happening here. It is weird to go back to this after the like basically over the top, almost like campy hyper capitalism, like Starship Troopers level shit of the hell science that was being done in Doom 2016. This is not as overtly expressed as that.
It's more the result of one man.
Yes.
You know, they went and hired a warlock whose name is Dr. Betrayer. and this warlock caused problems for them. So I guess this is like a feature length argument for background checks in a lot of ways. And the background check that begins with translating the name.
Yeah.
You know, this guy is in the Grimace Wormtongue school of people you shouldn't hire.
Is the poacher named Blackheart? Yes, my pretty.
Yes. Larry Kid Kill.
Man. But yeah, both the emails and the voice logs, they'll give you a sense of what life is like. However, you are going to be looking at these primarily to get access codes. Sometimes these bar progress. Most of the times, like this is the way that you get your resupply. There are like equipment lockers, and somebody will, you know, have terrible OPSEC and like write to their supervisor and say, "I need to know the code," and they'll write back and say, "It's 1, 2, 3, you dummy." You know.
Yeah. They're almost always at the end of audio logs.
Yes.
In a weird way. Like, you know, we'll tell you at the end how to, you know, what we're going to do for next month. Like it's weird and coy to get you to listen to them all. And it doesn't do, you know, again, I harp on this a lot, you know, I like the BioShock system of audio logs. So where I pick them up, I can play them automatically and walk around.
Yeah, this is missing the play them automatically. You can start them in your menu, but you have to go into the menu. Additionally,
you can walk around and you can multitask, which I like.
Yeah.
But it's not like a key on the keyboard.
Yeah. Also, huge problem in this. There are no subtitles in this game. None. Zero. Which video games have terrible sound mixing most of the time. And just imagine playing through this on difficulty mode if you were hearing impaired or had to play this silently and you just couldn't get half of the supply drops.
Yeah. You know, and the difficulty, the sound mixing gets even worse, like in cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah.
So the story ends up looking like a bunch of weird, you know, clay mannequins from Fallout 1 are having a bad day, but you don't really know why. You know, because it's just the sound mixing is so bad. It's a real bummer.
Yeah.
There's a weird little bit of this too, where this I'm sure was incredibly impressive at the time, where there's no cursor. You actually interface with computer screens and touch screens directly.
Yeah.
In front of you by walking up to them. And that has like, it's a way more minor concern than this, but it has a feeling a little bit of like the God of War camera trick where this is a stunt that didn't buy very much with what it paid.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So like that was a way to, I think, avoid, you know, modal interfaces. It took an awful lot of work, like reading about what went into it, like just the thousands of extra textures that they had to do. And it took 500,000 lines of code to implement this, the system. And
the best I can say about it is that it's a neat idea.
Yep. Cool.
I don't actually like it that much.
What would not have ruined this was a little pop-up that came up and I selected my thing. But I guess they wanted it to be immersive. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happen in the name of immersion
Yeah.
in video games that are maybe, ill-considered, I think.
Making you walk through a town in an RPG instead of having it be a menu like it ought to be.
Yeah. It's more immersion. It's more immersive until you realize, like, this is really weird. 7 people live in this town. 4 of them are employed by me.
Yeah.
And the other 3 stand next to a well and tell me that the king lives in the castle.
Yes.
Over and over. So levels in this are fairly linear. They're corridor bound, similar to like a Half-Life. You spend a lot of time getting systems back online, gassing things up, powering monorails and shit.
Yeah.
There are a good number of secrets, which is something I did not engage with my first time through the game and did the second time.
Yes.
And they're neat. They deal with like platforming and stuff. You can see like, there's the one little blinking light up there. If I do this incredibly risky parkour on these railings in a video game ass way, I can get up there and get some armor or something.
Yeah.
So it's actually, the rewards for exploration are not very robust. Like it tends, in the economy of this game, the best thing you can do are pickups and ammo.
Yeah.
Really. Or sometimes sequence breaking the weapon chain. But in terms of the pure joy of exploring and like finding secrets, it has that. It's doing pretty good at that.
Yes. Yeah. The levels are very thoughtfully designed. If you look at at something and think, hey, can I get there? You might be able to get there. If you do get back there, there probably will be something. Which is good. Like these are, it's good to have a thoughtfully designed space like this. Additionally, like most of the time, instead of having like backtracking when you reach your goal, a way that will like drop you back kind of toward the hub of the level will open up. So there is not an awful lot of, that there is covering ground that you have covered, but a lot of the time they move you around in a very canny way so that you can avoid it.
Yeah. Similar, but slightly less artificial feeling than like Skyrim dungeons.
Yes.
That just have a drop that drops you at the beginning of this. This is, we're in unconventional horror month. It's not quite the scareless October that we had last year.
The mild October.
Mild October where nothing was scary. I feel like Soma, has a lot of scares to it. In kind of a different way. This game is like a startling game.
Yes.
As opposed to being scared, it has the same. It's like recreating the effect of my girlfriend tapping me on the shoulder while I'm wearing headphones a lot of the time. Like, but except in the game you shoot.
Yes.
In real life, I don't.
No.
It's explicit kind of jump scares and like, not there's atmosphere to this that is genuinely pretty good, but it's not the focus. It is much more on something popping out and like the joy of seeing how it's going to work. Like I know when I pick up this glowing health kit in the middle of the room, things are going to teleport in, but how and where and how quickly and what?
Yeah.
That's the thing that's fun.
And like they are explicitly trying to hit you with scary things, but like the scary things that they will do are like you'll walk into a bathroom. Anytime you see a mirror, there is going to be a mirror scare where like, just the camera's pulled away and you see something scary and scary in the room with you. Like the screen will get like dark and turn like blood red and you'll hear voices and stuff. The sound design in this is really good, actually, from that regard. Yeah. There's an awful lot of
but not mix.
Yes. When you're going through the level and you hear like demonic chanting just kind of ambiently all around you, that is like mixing with the enemy, the enemy's movement and attack sounds, that is cool and good. And I think they do a good job of making this almost like a wall of activation in terms of like the stimulus that they're putting in front of you. So yes, it is startling and continuous in a stressful way.
Yeah. It's worth noting that a lot of the scares that go for atmosphere or creepy set pieces fall down because of how the graphics have aged. And not in terms of the lighting.
Yeah.
I think that these character models are some of the worst aged character models since like Oblivion.
It's very bad.
I cannot handle how characters' faces look in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is doughy and wide.
Yeah.
There's like one lady in the entire game. Everyone else is like a dude with the same body. Like it's like the planet, the He-Man. It's like Eternia. Where everybody has this weird same squat body, and everybody's skin looks like they all look like they're wearing a human suit.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it's so gross. Everyone is so unattractive looking in this.
Yeah, I think that they like that probably is a product of they felt like the normal mapping would get them further than it ultimately did, and that was impressive at the time too. But like, I think that like this settles in a very like dissatisfying valley between the level of fidelity, say, in a Half-Life where it is chunky and dorky, but like you can kind of get the feeling of it, and Half-Life 2, which like has good facial animations and basically models and things like that. Like it's just in this unsatisfying no man's zone between them.
It and Half-Life 2 came out not too long after this and just totally ate its lunch on that.
Yes. Yeah.
Like faces look good in that game. Faces look like everyone looks like a melting Charlie Brown candle in this. It's actually fucking disgusting. Like if any of these people logged onto Twitter, they would get dunked on relentlessly for their like saggy skin and like weird pallor. Well, they're all jerks too. They're all evil scientists. And,
there's
or like a
some
lot of them
workers
are in
and stuff.
service.
Yeah.
There's a couple working like just normal folk.
Right.
But a lot of them are betrugers. Buddies or demons. But it ends up kind of ruining the atmosphere, I guess is my point, where they'll show a cutscene of something like, Bravo Squad, I've been waiting for them this whole thing. Oh shit, they got fucked up.
Yeah.
But the animations of the cutscene are kind of weird and stiff, and they look like Stretch Armstrongs.
Yes.
Like it just ends up not being not working.
Yeah. So
lighting good, character models, monster models pretty good. Character models absolute dog shit. Aged very poorly.
Yes. Let's talk about the making of here. So id had a hit on their hands with Quake 3. Quake 3, very good game. However, afterwards there was kind of this schism, like a split that happened at id about what they should work on next.
So the management at the time, Adrian Carmack and Kevin Cloud, wanted to make an MMO called Quest. They were saying we keep making the same game over and over. Kind of fair, it's a good game. And the developers and artist, led by John Carmack, still the human computer man from the original Doom, played hardball and said like, no, we got to go back to the roots. We have to do a remake of Doom.
Right.
And part of the idea was recently Return to Castle Wolfenstein got a pretty warm reception, which is developed by Grey Matter, not id. But they're like, let's do a Return to Doom.
Yes. And this ultimately drew to an ultimatum. They said, hey, we are working on Doom for the next project unless you fire us. So they played hardball. Management relented. They still ended up firing somebody, an artist named Paul Steed, in what to all appearances looks like an act of retribution, although that is disputed by the people involved. It just, not a great look to fire somebody directly after that.
Yeah, I love that it is still full of messy bees who live for drama, even if John Romero isn't there. Like you really, it felt like this is mostly his steez, but it's like, no, these are a bunch of goofs.
I mean, somebody whose personality is as big as John Romero, like they're going to have an effect on establishing the culture that will be around long after they leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Like John Carmack has been showing his ass a lot on Twitter too. So I don't know if that guy's quite as like neutral, boy genius as he appears. John Carmack led the technical development of this game, making the id Tech 4 engine. And the big thing to show off here was the real-time lighting and shadows.
Right.
Specifically both, like the interplay of those two things together. And this game is not a tech demo, but it is designed to show that off. Right. That is the selling point, is a graphical one.
Yeah. Prior to this, most 3D games, they would render a static light map whenever the level was loaded. And making real-time changes to this was difficult to accomplish. Like, you would have things like Thief, but they had to do like multiple light maps for this, to take into account like sources that you could squelch out, things like that. Here, the entire system was built from the ground up to account for this, right? And that affected the core gameplay loop in a way that we discussed before.
Speaking of, I think that there is a fan remake of Thief 1 in the Doom 3 engine.
Oh shit. That
sounds badass.
That is a weirdly good match, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that is cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So things looked really good in motion. Like just kind of like absolutely, really groundbreaking and amazing. Screenshots looked really dark, and this became a meme. Like people were just, I had an exchange on Twitter where somebody mentioned like if this was not called Doom 3, it would have been more successful. And like, I believe that. Like if this had been called like Doom Dark, or something like that, like I think that it would have been more accepted on those terms. So.
Yeah, I mean, even beyond just the thing that happens like weirdly commonly, where a late numbered entry in a series is actually a remake of the first one.
Yeah.
That has always been a very strange thing to me. But I agree with that. It's a matter of expectation setting, right?
Like a spinoff, Doom Gaiden.
Yes, yeah. People would have probably looked at it, but then again, who knows?
Yeah.
They might get confused. But yeah, Doom 3 was also kind of one of these first major mainstream games to rely heavily on normal mapping, to give objects these realistic bumpy textures. They also had like, stencil shadows and things like that. Just a lot of detail, being thrown in this, and this was around the time that like 3D graphics cards were specifically being marketed, as TNL, as texture and lighting, right? So this was, I didn't build a PC for this. I built it for Half-Life 2. But when this came out, I sure as shit got this for Christmas because I had a machine that could run it. And it was a gigantic deal at the time.
Yeah, looked cool. We mentioned the cinematic presentation, Matthew Costello, the Seventh Guest guy writing it. Having that kind of approach to narrative and increased focus on that meant it took longer to develop than Carmack had initially believed it would. Trent Reznor was brought on to do the sound design for the game from Quake. You may know Trent Reznor from Quake. But the development process was too long, so they could not quite work that out legally. He did some of the work and some sound work, which can be modded into it. But the actual soundtrack we got was composed by Chris Vrenna, who's the drummer for Nine Inch Nails. Yeah. So as long as Nine Inch Nails was involved in the soundtrack, they're happy.
Yes. Just the way they said it was like, Trent Reznor, he is a rock star who has a rock star schedule and a rock star's price tag. It was just different. What we were asking him to do was just bigger and more than what we had with Quake.
Yeah, we need a drummer's price tag. A drummer's schedule, a drummer's comparatively breezy schedule.
They're so punctual,
Yeah, exactly.
And the sound design and all that is good in this. As we said, the soundtrack does not get anywhere near as good as Quake's, but that is such a high watermark that it's unfair to hold against it. Well, yeah, I suppose.
Like there's a lot more like ambient music in this. There's a lot more just kind of like corridor sounds.
Yes.
This is not music designed to get you pumped, which was what I want from a Doom soundtrack.
Yeah, this is a place where I want like industrial percussion and a chunk guitars.
Yeah. I ended up finding the soundtrack to this actually like serviceable but a little forgettable. Yep. Chris Vrenna,
Claude.
So an expansion pack for this came out called Resurrection of Evil. This was released in 2005. It basically finishes the story.
Yeah.
This weirdly, like you do not have a showdown with the main antagonist of this game in this game.
No.
It takes place 2 years after the events of this game. You have a new Marine who actually goes and kills Dr. Betruger, who is the warlock that UAC hired on accident.
Betruger being German for betrayer. So.
Yeah, it's actually something like scammer.
Ooh.
It was supposed to be, they wanted to invoke traitor, but that'd be a different word. So it's actually like Dr. Scam, Dr. Scammer, which sounds like an awesome like local news segment. Like let's hear from our weather person and then Dr. Scammer who's going to tell us about local businesses you should avoid. you know?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Here in my news market, the Northern Ohio or Cleveland, I think it's Cleveland's Fox affiliate has a nationally famous like consumer affairs guy who just straight up harasses businesses.
I kind of love that shit. Like I realize it's evil, but like I'll watch it.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I mean, just because the production is so good, the little jingles and stuff. Yeah. Oh, the voiceover.
It's always trying to be scary, which I really love.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then it'll just be a dry cleaner that like cuts corners, but the music is like it's fucking Halloween 4. You know, I love it so much.
Oh, geez, I can't find the guy's name. He popped up on the Daily Show quite a bit as an object of fun, but yeah. But yeah, Resurrection of Evil continued the story. They also added a gravity gun, and they were they made a very strong point of saying, no, we have the gravity gun as like a developer tool before Half-Life 2 came out. We're totally not trying to copy them on this.
Yeah. Even though like a lot of people were just like, it's the gravity gun, but worse.
Yeah. As happens, like BioShock had the telekinesis and that was gravity gun, but worse. All that.
Yeah. So we talked about the BFG edition, 2012, celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Doom franchise. This is a graphical update and a gameplay update, which we mentioned with the flashlight thing. It also added a checkpoint, auto-saving, which is great. It's a bit more generous with resources. Yeah. So there's more ammo to be found, cutting into the survival horror feeling, but again, giving gamers the treats they asked for.
Yes. Scattering them about on the floor for you. It also added new content, specifically this new campaign called Lost Missions, which is kind of made up of some cut content from both games, from the base game and the expansion.
I have not played that, but I have watched some of it and read about it. Basically, the idea was to make in the Doom 3 engine a frenetic, fast-paced Doom 2 experience. So the idea is, and it's not supposed to be largely, entirely successful.
Yeah.
But the idea is that that's what they're going for.
Yeah. This game, despite its reputation among people who like the Doom series, it sold and reviewed well. The complaints were definitely there in the reviews and stuff, but people generally liked this game well enough. That said, though, it did have that reputation, and this kind of marked an identity crisis for id and for the series. They kind of went into the wilderness here.
Yeah. After this, they kind of went into doing mobile games, including Doom and Wolfenstein RPGs, which are
good.
Cool.
I love those.
Yeah, they're very basic, but they're fun. Yeah, like those are pretty cool, and they're hard to play now. Also, it works in Elves, which I'd always heard of, but not realize was it.
Yep, that was it.
Yeah, and they started work on what I can only believe to be a future WAF, the game Rage, which I think would be a really interesting, game for the show because it's a fascinating failure. Like there's a lot of stuff to like about Rage. Yeah. While it not really being a good game.
Yes. Fascinating from a tactical standpoint.
Yeah.
The idea of mega textures and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the pathfinding, the enemy pathfinding is still some of the best in games. Like the dynamic way that enemies will crawl towards you and get you past obstacles is still some of my favorite.
Yeah.
That I've seen in a video game, which is kind of crazy because nobody likes Rage. It's not a well thought of game.
Right.
Doom, the franchise, got rebooted again in 2016. This is seen as more of a return to form. We covered that in episode 194 in May of 2018. It is also pretty different than old Dooms.
Yes.
But different than this as well. And it is, to my mind, an unqualified success.
Yep.
I have not played Doom Eternal yet. People have tweeted me about it a lot. I am curious. It does seem like that is not a safe play. They did not just do Doom 2016 again.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see what Doom Eternal is actually like when I get my hands on it.
Yeah, I played the first couple of levels of it, but that is not enough to see like the substantial things that they changed. So
so that's going to be the end of our generalities and the end of our preview episode. If you are hearing this, thank you for listening. If you'd like to hear the rest of the episode and the rest of our premium episodes, head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
Yep. There you can find not just all the premium episodes of this show, but also whole other shows. And you can get early access to things, including Orb, our new show that we are launching. It's out as of the time you're hearing this. That is our show that is a Venture Brothers recap show. So we recommend that you go give that a shot.
Yeah, and we love the support. It's a brand new show. And stay tuned next week where we'll be doing our dispatch. We'll be answering your questions and announcing what our winter WRPG is.
Cool. Thank you for listening.